Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here, welcome back if you are an old subscriber. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell as well to be notified when madness like this is uploaded to YouTube. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about this palette. I wanted to do just a cute little look for Valentine's Day. As you can see, I have my foundation, blush, all of that on because, as we know, Valentine's Day is for lovers, and I'm single. It's not an issue to be single. Dating has been a struggle. If you're single, you know what is out here. Ain't much going on out here. And I certainly have had my experiences with these niggas. It's been a mess. I want to do a story time / affordable eyes Valentine's Day, I'm single and this is why type video. So let's stop talking and get into it. Let's just get into it. So I'm going to be using my Sweet and Shimmer eyeshadow palette today that I got from Ulta, $2. I think originally they had them like in a $5 bin for Christmas, but when I went a couple weeks after Christmas, this was marked down to like $1 or $2. So like, regardless of which, very cheap, very good quality eyeshadows for the price. I'm gonna be taking this color on a fluffy brush and I'm gonna start working that into the crease. After that, in case I get too carried away with my story, I'm gonna go in with this color and put that on the eyelid. So let's go. Okay. Let me just tell you about this particular date that stands out in my mind. I've been on a few dates, but this one stands out in my mind just because of mainly the conversation and the ending. So stay tuned. Oh, wait. I need to put tape. Okay, so before I start doing any of that, I'm going to take a piece of tape because I wanted to have kind of a sharp situation going on. If you quickly want to de-stick your tape, just like take whatever powder brush you used and then don't add any more powder, just like go over the tape with it. It just makes it faster to de-stick it. So this guy on Tinder, we're gonna call him whatever, just a nameless guy that I never saw again. So I met this guy, I believe on Tinder. He was like muscular, just fine. I just thought that he was really sweet. When I'm looking on Tinder or any other profile, the main thing for me is to have a profile. Like, most of these guys feel like their cuteness can carry them. Like, no, you need to write something in your profile. Like, you're not cute enough to not have shit written in your profile. And that's what I put on my profile. That's what I put on my profile. You're not cute enough to not have shit, to not have anything not written in your profile. I'm just saying. He had, you know, a little bit about him. He didn't have any kids, you know, the whole thing. So I was like, oh, no kids. He fine too. He got a job. Like, okay. So we matched and we got to talking. Everything was fine. Really sweet guy. No red flags from what I could see. That was my first issue because everybody has a red flag. I tell him like, you know, we should link up. I feel more, I don't know why. I told him like, I would much rather you come up to see me than me come down to see you because I don't drive or go out of my way for any of these niggas. I told him, you know, to come up here and we'll just like figure it out from there. You know, if we vibe and like what we want to do. So I wanted to see if I liked him at first. I wasn't thinking about giving him the puss pop, but if it came down to it and I wanted to. Okay, so mind you, on his profile and everything, it said that he was like at least 6 feet. Because that's, if it ain't a 6, I'm looking at you crazy. You got to be really fine and not be 6 feet for me to really be like, oh, okay. It's terrible. I know. I told him to come over to my place. I know. I mean, clearly I'm fine, but probably not the best idea when you're meeting someone for the first time. So I told him to come over to my place, right? And he gets there and I open the door and first of all, not 6 feet tall. So I was like, oh, okay. You're nowhere near 6 feet tall. You're like my height. And I'm not short. I'm like 5'8.5". But there's a difference between 5'8.5" and 6 feet. So I was like, oh, got me. But I invite him in and I can tell that he's been drinking. Like, he has kind of a lisp going on. Well, not a lisp, but just like, I can just tell that he's been drinking. So I was, again, turned off because like, I don't know, you to be trashed on the first date, you know what I mean? Or like the first time that I meet you. He's talkative, like he's you know, we're talking a little bit, but like he's more so talking than I am. He is like kind of hyping himself up a little bit. Like we get to the ABC store, and at this time I was drinking hard liquor a lot, so like my tolerance was through the freaking roof. So he was saying that like, oh, like I hope you can handle yourself, I don't want to, you know, have to put you to bed or whatever. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, how you figure? And he was like, oh, because I drink moonshine when I'm sick, you know, like I drink or whatever. And I'm just kind of like, I like to go out, don't ever get it twisted. I like to go out, especially at this time before, you know, the C word. I was out all the time, but I don't know, as I've gotten older, I'm just not really, it doesn't turn me on when I hear a guy say that he can down a whole bottle of Jack by himself. Like, seek therapy. Begging, please. We get back to my place, I'm pouring us drinks, and I'm kind of a heavy pourer at this time because who uses measuring cups? Okay, pause, because I didn't say it. I used this color to put it in my inner corner a little bit. Kind of wanted to do a faux cut crease situation, but I feel like that would be too much technique type stuff for this video. I'm just trying to show you a simple look that you could do with a cheap eyeshadow regardless of your skill level. I want to add a little bit more depth though, just for like my thumbnails and my pictures and stuff like that. So I'm going to take my bronzer and add a little bit to my inner and outer, and that's literally it. I'm not using any other eyeshadows except for these. So like I pour up the drinks or whatever, and I start asking him questions, and I asked him how his last relationship ended. Or why the last relationship ended, you know, like why are you single? He was like, oh, you know, the girl that I was seeing, they love to say that they were crazy. Oh, the girl that I was seeing before was just crazy. She took me for granted, blah, blah, blah. And we got into a big fight, and I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, what were you fighting about? He was like, oh, she was just disrespecting me, and like, she was calling me out my name, and which I believe. I mean, I know some women are crazy as hell and they really will be calling you out your name and like like abusive. So I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. And I was like, well, I was like, she was calling you out your name. She was like, yeah. And she called the police on me and got a restraining order against me because I punched a hole in the wall. I was like, oh. He was like, yeah, I got 2.5 years of anger management behind that. I was like, like just one of those things that make you go, red flag, because it's like, dude, why are you punching holes in the wall? Like, relax. I'm not punching a wall. Like, just stuff like that. Like, to me, it just said, it just reads adolescent, childish, run. So I was like, I'm trying to sum up the conversation because it has been a couple years. Ones that like really had me like, oh. I'm like, oh, have you ever been in trouble for anything else? He was like, well, technically I am a felon. What do you mean technically you a felon? How are you a felon? So I was like, how? I was driving down a road and it had just snowed the day before, so it was icy and it was a one-way road. And a car was driving past me, and I don't know how, but somehow we both, I guess like what he says, the back of their car's like, so I guess you hit a patch of ice and the back of your car like fishtails. So her car fishtailed in, his car fishtailed in, and they like hit each other's tail ends and like bounced off the opposite way. He goes this way, she goes that way for whatever. He claims that when he went off, you know, he didn't see anyone or whatever. He calls his dad, which he also told me that he hated. So he calls his dad or whatever and picks him up, and they leave the scene of the accident. And in Virginia, that's a no-go. In Virginia, I guess it's an automatic felony if you leave the scene of a accident. It's like a hit and run type situation. So he was like, yeah, and plus she was rich, so like they took her side, and I ended up getting a felony charge behind it. And I was just kind of like, well, did you check on her? Like, did you go and try and like see if she was okay? No, I didn't see if she was okay. We just left. I'm like, you could have killed this woman and she's probably dead. I was just like really turned off by it. And like, again, he's getting drunker and drunker. He's not overly obnoxious, but he's just like he's like touching me and like trying to catch a feel, and I'm just kind of like, don't touch me unless like I want you to touch me, and I'm gonna let you know if I want you to touch me. Okay. He was just getting too much for me. Ooh, sharp lines. Okay. We're not having sex tonight. He was like, you're not even drunk. Like, you set me up. You set me up. I was like, I didn't set you up because I would have robbed you by now if I had. But he was just talking mess and like, oh, you set me up. You set me up. I'm like, no, I didn't. I was like, how am I going to get him out of here? I chose to smoke. I don't think I can say smoking. I was sipping on the devil's lettuce. I don't know if we can say, I don't know how YouTube is with that, but I was sipping on the devil's lettuce. So before in our conversation as well, he said that he did not smoke. So I was just like, okay, like I wasn't offering him, you know, any at all. I don't know if he did it again to try and impress me or whatever, but he kind of like, I'm talking and he kind of comes over and he takes a hit. I don't know if it was a combination of him drinking beforehand, drinking then, and not really being I think he caught the spins and he was just like, oh no, like I gotta go outside, like I gotta go outside. He smoked cigarettes, which again, I was just like, ugh, not really into that. So like every other thing he was doing was turning me off. We go outside so that he can smoke a cigarette and get some air. And as I'm talking, all I see out the corner of my eye is him slowly start to he just slowly starts like sliding down the banister of my porch. And he gets down and he just starts projectile vomiting all over himself, everywhere. I'm just standing there in complete freaking disbelief that this is my life. And at this point, I'm like, well, is he dead? I'm like trying to clean him. And I'm even thinking about it. I'm a sympathetic thrower upper. If you up chuck, I'm chucking up. Okay? Even thinking about it, it just causes so much. I can't do the vomit. Like the vomit, I can't do it. I'm struggling and like he's just passed out and I'm like, please get up. Trying to pick him up with like my fingertips because I don't want to touch him. And like he's like a rock. He's like a mountain. He is not moving. At this point I checked his pulse and he did have a pulse. He did have a pulse. Yeah, he did. I don't know what to do at this point because vomit is like going in between the wood panels of my porch, going down onto my neighbor's porch. I'm trying to like get cups of water and like slough it off of the porch while trying not to throw up, trying to like wipe him off without touching it. I'm like, I have gloves. Horrible. At one point, I'm just like, F this. I just like completely give up. And I'm like, well, I did want him out. And he's out. You get what you asked for. So I couldn't pick him up. So I left him there. And I wish I had a picture or something. I think I did a snap. I snapped my friend and I'm like, that's him. I ended up just like checking in on him. I went back, washed some dishes, came back, checked on him. He was still passed out, tried again, went and cleaned. I closed the door and locked it. Came back, looked in the peephole. He was still passed out on my porch. I had already put his keys and his hat and everything next to him. Because I was like, whenever you wake up, you can just go ahead and go. You don't have to text me, nothing, just go. He did text me like an hour and a half later saying that he made it back to wherever he was coming from and that he was embarrassed and that he was sorry and that he hopes that this isn't going to ruin his chances with me. Yeah, it was terrible. Like, bro. Godspeed, like genuinely. I hope you're doing well, but no. I told him it was all good, but clearly, I'm still single. So we didn't hear from that one anymore by our own choosing. That's something that I can laugh at because it's like, bro, what the hell? But like, I have had some experiences with these men and it has been... I am not one of those girls that's like, oh, I need to have a husband by this age or do this, but you know, society kind of gets into your head and you unconsciously start to adopt these like anxieties of like where you're at in life in terms of relationships and like kids and all of that. And I'm just kind of like, I'm not panicking about that. If anything, I just want, you know, a boyfriend. Continuing this trend of singleness and focusing on my YouTube and focusing on work and just my body and all of that. I'm sure someone will come around and ruin that for me. I was deleting and adding Tinder back onto my phone at least once or twice a week. I would get so annoyed with these guys, but I know for a fact that it's because they were not right for me, and it's not supposed to work out with those guys. Like, it's not supposed to. They're not the right ones for me. That's why they're not in my life anymore. And I see that now, and I don't harp on those experiences. If anything, I laugh about it and I keep it moving because I'm the prize. I'm the prize. And if anything, I'm really lucky that I am single because there ain't nothing out here, honey. I am happy being at home, knowing that for a fact no one is cheating on me, and enjoying my single life. I'm sticking on 11 Lash in Extreme XL Baby Doll. Okay, so the lashes are on, blush and everything is on. I'm just gonna throw on a little bit of highlighter and a lip and we're done. Really would just like my future husband to hurry up though, because if you gonna come around, just go ahead and come around. At this point, you gonna roll up and I'm really gonna be done. I'm really not gonna care. I'm gonna have my puppies. I don't even like dogs like that. Actually, I do now, but before I didn't. I'm gonna have my dogs or something, and I'm gonna be good. And I'm not gonna want you anymore, sir. So you may wanna come around soon. I found this Honor Roll highlighter, crayon case highlighter in my kit, and I was like, I don't ever use this. Why don't I use this? This is incredible. Do people still highlight? Is that a thing? I feel like people don't highlight anymore. Okay, so as for the lip, I'll probably do a combination of these two. These are by Fenty. I do have a video coming up swatching these that I did yesterday. So if you're interested, check that out. That should be up after this video. All right, y'all, I'm done. This is the completed makeup look. If you want an updated foundation routine, I can do that for you guys. I feel like there's 101 out there, so I'm just like, take your pick. But if you want to see me do it, I can do that. Again, I do have every single one of the Fenty lip glosses that I did do a video on. It should be up after this one, so make sure you are subscribed and you hit that notification bell so you are notified when I upload that to YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next time. Peace. What the fuck? I just want to film a video. That's it. Without showing my tit. That's all I want to do. God. All right, so I'm sticking on flexibility. I'm not pressed about finding anybody. If anything, I'm the prize. So like, I'm not pressed about it.
Oh, I love this lip gloss.
I love experimenting with these big lashes, but I hate when one of them is like up and then the other one is like down. It makes your eyes look crazy as hell. Especially like in the inner corner. I'm like, girl, what you doing? Stay down. Be a writer, please. Thank you so much.